Hey, this is Meridith Elliott Powell, and I apologize. We are a few minutes late this morning coming to you with Sales Logic. I am actually on the big island of Hawaii, and I had a little time zone challenge with getting the link set up this morning. And my partner here, Mark Hunter, was quite patient with me. So good morning, Mark.
Good morning. And the fact that it is 3 a.m. and you're ready to go live for Sales Logic, that says commitment to 1,000%.
Well, I think I have to be a little bit crazy. Here I am rolled straight out of the bed. So there's not an earring in my ear, not a piece of jewelry on me, no makeup, no nothing. And as a guy, you can't quite relate. But as a girl, that's a pretty bold statement. But
that is a bold statement. So this is for the audio audience, the audio audience.
Exactly. So anyway, we have a great show this morning. I might be a little bit peppier than usual, being a little bit without sleep. But I say that we go ahead. I hit the video and we dive in. What do you think?
Let's roll. Let's go.
Prospect with integrity. We will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
This is Sales Logic, and no matter where we are in the world, we come to you at 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday morning, even if just a couple of minutes late. And here's how the show works. Every week, we start off with a question from you, the audience. That's right. If you want to participate in Sales Logic, we would love you to participate in Sales Logic. Just go to saleslogicpodcast.com, enter your question there. We cover a hot topic, review a book that either we're reading or we should be reading, and we want to suggest to you. And last but not least, because we want you to get return on investment, we end up with a lightning round. We've got a really active audience this morning as well. So chime in, and Mark, tell us what's on tap for today.
Well, we do have, we got our first comment 10 seconds into the show. So this is great. Hey, what we're talking about today, how do you become a sales expert in your customer's mind? Let's stop and think about that for a moment. We got a great book, but here's the question. The question comes to us from Fran in Atlanta. He asks, I have a great sales territory. My customers really like me, but it feels like my main competitor gets all the business. We distribute virtually the same items, same prices, but he gets the business as he's seen as the veteran expert who can answer everyone's question. Yeah, that's a challenge a lot of people face. What do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, that he's seen as the veteran expert because he probably is the veteran expert. Doesn't mean you can't become the veteran expert, but I think you start right there asking yourself, what am I doing to prove that I understand the industry, I understand my customers, and then what am I doing in order to make sure that my customers know they can rely on me? I'm going to save one because I know that Mark always talks about reputation arrives before you do. So I'm going to let Mark have that one. That's kind of his line that he can talk about. So I'm going to start with really understanding, have you done your homework and your research to understand what your customers' problems are? I just shot a video yesterday about the importance of educating your marketplace. You have to educate your marketplace, your customers, your prospects about the market, about how to use your product, about how your product is worth the value, about how your product solves the problems. The sales process right now begins with marketing. And positioning yourself in the marketplace that way, understanding the problems, is a great way to begin.
How did you know I was going to talk about your reputation right before
somehow I just knew that.
Didn't
want to steal your thunder.
And I'll bet that video you shot was on the beach, right?
Yeah, it was.
There you go. Yeah, anyway. Hey, here's the whole thing. Your reputation does arrive before you do, but just because you might be the younger person, the newer person, it's about bringing insights to your customer. Are you taking the time? Because I bet the veteran probably just shows up with the price list. Okay, I know it's not the price list, but just really just giving them what they want, what they need. You got to go the extra mile. You have to bring to them insights and information to help them run their business more effectively. I'm going to ask Fran. Fran, when was the last time you shared with them some information as to how they can really run their business better that goes above and beyond what you sell? You see, if you want to be seen as an expert, you got to help them really do everything, not just really focus on what you sell. Go beyond, do that extra mile, and then they'll begin seeing you in a different light.
Yeah, aloha, Adam. Thanks so much. I think the thing that you need to be doing too is you really need to ask yourself, Fran, do you understand the industry? I had a CEO say one time, I love this quote, and he said, I really don't need a salesperson coming in and asking me that age-old question of what keeps me up at night. I need a salesperson to come in and say, this is what keeps you up at night, and this is how I can solve that problem. You need to understand the industry better than your customer, but just knowing it isn't enough. You have to get the message out there. You should be shooting videos. You should be writing blogs. You should be getting on podcasts. You should be the person that people turn to get the information they need. Think about this. One reason sales is so frustrating today is because the sales cycle starts without you. Long before you ever go to call on a customer, they're Googling for information. They are educating themselves about their products and services, finding solutions. They are talking to peers and experts. They're reading industry magazines. And you need to ask yourself, are you popping up when they look for information? And if you're not, you need to solve the problem right there.
That brings up a line. If you want to be seen as the expert locally, you have to be recognized globally.
So true.
And going back to what you said so well, be on some industry podcasts, contribute to some industry blogs, write content yourself, but you have to be recognized globally. And when you're recognized globally, and I'm not talking about a rabbit hole that you go down and you spend hours and hours on, this is really not that difficult. But what happens is it begins to change how people see you locally. And this is the challenge. And what it's also going to do is it's going to connect you with more people. And those people are going to share with you insights. They're going to share with you ideas. You and I encounter this all the time. We meet people and so forth. And we get into conversations and we learn new things. And wow, that helps us over here with this client, helps us over here with this client. And what does it do? It just makes us become more valuable. And here's the thing, Fran. I'm going to challenge you, Fran. I think some of your problem is really in your own mind. You don't see yourself as an expert. You've allowed this veteran salesperson to become the winner. And you look up to them. You don't need to look up to them. You need to look across to them. They are your peer. And your job is to really become the expert and change your mindset. When you change your mindset, Fran, I think you'll find that your customers will look at you differently.
Yeah, and there's a great book for that called Sales Mindset by Mark Hunter. But Mark, you are making such a great point. I mean, if you don't see yourself as the expert in the field, chances are you're still just selling to customers. They have a problem. You're trying to give them the hammer that's going to pound the nail that's going to solve the problem. You need to be able to go deeper and go beyond. I mean, you're really adding value to that relationship, looking to ask the questions that go deeper than just the surface problem. But again, it's not enough to be the expert. You have to position yourself in the market as the expert. You have to be the one that people are talking about, which leads us down the path of the importance of being an expert with the right target market. If you try to be an expert across the entire industry, that's going to be really, really difficult. So understanding who your target market is within that industry and focusing your time and your energy there.
That's something really focus, be tight. Don't try to be the generalist. Because when you're the generalist, nobody really values you. Now, here's an interesting strategy, Fran, and it doesn't just work for Fran, it can work for anybody. When was the last time you went to lunch with some of your best customers? You just went to lunch and you just talked to them about their business. Just get them to share with you, and no agenda on your end. You're just wanting to really understand, hey, what are the big challenges you're facing? You take those insights. Then you begin to say, okay, how do I craft solutions? How do I craft ideas? How do I craft information that I can begin to share with them? You do that with 2 or 3 of your best customers, and they'll do that with you. They'll sit down with you. They'll talk. Hey, yeah, we're having problems with this. We're having problems with this. And you just take it all in. And then you begin to pivot and play back to them solutions and across your entire client customer list. Suddenly, people are going to begin to view you in a different light, and you're going to become far more confident.
You know, what I love about that suggestion, I want to get this comment in here that Rich said. He said, most don't do the hard work to make sales easy, right? I mean, I love that. I love that phrase, because if you do this work, it does make sales easier. I keep a pad of paper by my computer in my office back in Asheville, North Carolina. And any question that a customer asks me becomes what I'm going to shoot a video about or what I'm going to write an article about. Because the questions that my current customers have are the questions my prospects have. And I might as well just put the information out there, because prospects right now are Googling for the same thing that my customers are asking me about. So when you take that and people are looking for information, they don't see a salesperson. What they see is somebody who can solve their problems.
Oh, spot on. In fact, with that, and we kind of pivot over to really the topic, the question is, how do you become a sales expert in your customer's mind? Here's one thing that I challenge anybody. I'm going to challenge Fran, anybody who's in this world of really kind of, you're just a distributor. You're a distributor of whatever it might be. You want to start off that conversation by sharing with your customers. Share with them an insight. Share with them something that's happening out there in the industry. Make that where you start every conversation. And if you want to become an even bigger sales expert, you go, hey, a couple weeks ago when I was talking to you, you mentioned this. I did some research and here's what I found out about this. Boom. Now you're sharing with them an insight relative to something they shared with you. So go back to this example I talked earlier, that you take a couple of your best customers to lunch. Think about this. You can run with that for months on end, because you might take somebody to lunch right now. You take the customer to lunch and they share with you some insights. And 3, 4, 5 months from now, you might be with them. Hey, remember when we had lunch? You mentioned this. And here's some things that I've been finding out about that. And boom, wow. They are blown away that now you're helping them with their challenges. And here's the whole thing. You want to be the expert in what you sell, the expert in the outcome you create. But my measurement when you're seen as an expert is when they're asking you questions that have nothing to do with what you sell. Think about that for a moment. When
so
you
important.
When you have a customer who asks you a question about something you don't sell, why are they doing that? Because they see you as an expert. That's the holy grail when you've reached that pinnacle.
Yeah, they see you as somebody who can add value. I love this statement here from Adam. He says, you become the customer Sherpa, great word, in maneuvering through the noise and anticipate of their potential challenges. So right, Adam, you're not just you're not just selling a product. And Patrick Tinney had mentioned the importance of writing white papers, and you don't have to write them yourselves. I mean, your company can write those and get those out there for you. I really want to emphasize, though, that when a customer comes to you with a problem or a challenge, even if it's specific to your product or to your organization or even to you, somewhere where you screwed up, do not look at that as a negative. They just gave you the gold you need to turn that around, because when you solve that problem, you have solved something that caused them pain, and that's going to begin to position you as an expert. I think the thing everybody needs to understand, though, is that one thing that is greatly different about the sales cycle today versus when I started in the field over 30 years ago is the fact that you have to market first. You have to. It's, I'm not just selling on Main Street in Asheville, North Carolina. I am selling globally, whether I do or not, just like Mark said, and I have to build that reputation. I have to build that reputation everywhere. People are going to look online for you. And if they don't see you, it says volumes about the lack of an expert you are.
Yeah. You said something about grab some marketing content. I was at a conference yesterday. Statistic was shared. 92%, this is in B2B, 92% of marketing content created is never seen by sales.
Wow.
Think about that. 92%. And there was some real research that went into this B2B space over about a 2-year period. But think about this. That means, look at all this content that your marketing department, now you might be the exception, but chances are you're probably not, because again, wow, that number blows my mind away. But what does that mean? That means there's content yet your marketing department's created. You may need to spin it a little bit. You may need to massage it a little bit. But think about that. There's content there that you can be sharing with your customers, because if 92% of the salespeople in the company haven't seen it, I wonder what the percentage of your customers have not seen it either.
Yeah. I would also say go to the marketing department and tell them the content to create. This disconnect between marketing and sales is really a problem. And, Patrick had mentioned the importance of going out, seeing your customers, go to their place of business, go on a ride with them, feel like what it's like to be with a customer. Absolutely. Grab the marketing department to come with you. Make them do it as well so that their content is more relevant. I would guess that some of the challenges of the fact that some of that content isn't seen is because the content's not always as relevant as it needs to be. I can't remember who said this quote, but I use it all the time. People don't do business with you because they understand you. They do business with you because you understand them. And that is probably a big piece that we miss a lot. If you want to be an expert, this isn't about, I don't care where you went to college. I don't care how many awards your business has won. I care, do you understand my problems and do you solve my problems? One last thing I want to add in on that too. Case studies are awesome. Talk about a great way to position yourself as an expert. Think of a couple of customers that you've helped. If you can use them, great, use those testimonials. If you can't, just it's customer with ABC Corporation, and write that case study out.
Oh, spot on with that. And you mentioned something. Take marketing people out with you to the field. Take your CEO out. Take other people in your company out. We become known by who we associate with. And it's amazing. But when I go into an account, I'll never forget this. Years ago when I was carrying a bag, boy, there's a term from years back. And I had one of our senior VPs with me. It was amazing how the conversations changed. It was amazing how suddenly different people showed up for the meeting. And with this senior VP, we had incredible level of dialogue with a number of customers. And what I found interesting was this. One, my customers never viewed me in the same light afterwards, because suddenly they view, well, he was hanging out with the senior vice president of the company, one of the top people this was in a Fortune 100 company. And it elevated my presence right then and there. But what it also did is suddenly now I had a relationship with this gentleman. And on several occasions, I was able to pick up the phone and ask him a question and get insights. What could I do then? I could then play that back to customers. It elevated, again, in my own mindset, my value, but it also elevated my mindset in terms of how my customers viewed me. So don't hesitate. Get other people involved in the act of elevating yourself to that next level to be seen as a sales expert.
I love John's comment here too. John had never thought of that. What a great idea for relevant content. Have marketing listen to recorded calls. If you can record calls and share that with marketing, what a great idea. And Mark, our friend here, Julianne Sullivan's joined us this morning. And Julianne is so right. People turn off conversations when they are not relevant. They're not interested in anything. I mean, I always think one of the biggest compliments I can get is when somebody says, you know, your information was spot on. And the way to get spot on information is exactly what Mark told you to do. Listen to the customer, listen to what they tell you, and then solve that problem.
Here's the mark of whether or not your information is good that you're sharing. We'll say that you share with a customer a couple pages of information. We'll say it's a PDF file. Maybe it's a small PowerPoint deck, something like that. And they say, hey, can I have a copy of this? Can I have a
Yes.
copy of this? When they say that, that says that, you know what? You just gave them some critical insight. Because I'll tell you what, if they go, it's not relevant. You know, this is the whole thing. The competitive landscape is only going to get one thing, more competitive. We think it's competitive today. Boy, 5 years from now, it's going to be even more competitive. We have to find a way to break through, because here's the thing. Customers' challenges, they're always going to be there. But the customer feels they have the knowledge. They feel that they're the smart one. So if we're not seen as the expert, they won't allow us to begin to penetrate their mind with the insights that we know they really need to know.
Yeah, Julianne is so right here too. So many salespeople have an agenda. Boy, does that take me back. You know, when I started in sales, we had this whole idea of pre-call planning. And we used to get these sheets where literally we would decide how we would open the conversation, how we would transition the conversation, what product we would offer, and what product we would close with. Talk about an outdated sales strategy. Because you don't want to be doing that. You need to let the conversation, free flow. But you have got to educate the marketplace as to how to use your products, how you understand the challenges and things that they have. And like it or not, I was with a group the other week, and they said, we don't like to shoot videos. It makes us uncomfortable. And I said, well, guess what? This is work. It's time to get uncomfortable. You know, we don't get to do what we like to do every single day. And so you have to do the things that are going to position you as an expert, whether you're comfortable in front of the camera, whether you're not, whether you like to write or whether you don't like to write. You still need to do these pieces, because it is just as Adam said, you're not doing the things that are going to make sales easier. And if you do these things, if you build your reputation, sales will be easier.
Well, and you mentioned something really good. You got to let the conversation flow. And this is really scary for a lot of VPs of sales leaders and so forth. You know, what this means is your people have to be really educated. They have to be, in order for you to do that, you have to know your content really well, because you've got to be able to let it free, which is really kind of what we get compliments on in terms of this show. We really don't know what our topic is until we go live, and then yet we still provide content because we know our industry, we know our space so well. Salespeople, this is where you've got to get to. You've got to get to that level of confidence. And one of the ways you do this, watch this, I'm going to transition to the book, is you got to be reading. And there's a new book that is out, Elite Sales Strategies. Anthony Iannarino, excellent friend of both of ours, one of the co-founders of Outbound, Elite Sales Strategies. It's available April 19th. So get the copy of it. But in that, he shares all of the strategies that you need to really be one up with your customer in everything that we've been talking about here today.
Yeah, I just read the preview of that book, what Anthony had sent out earlier, and it really is relevant, innovative content. It's really chock full of strategies and ideas that you're not going to find in other places, and are really going to give you that competitive advantage and that leg up.
Yeah, and he goes through 9 different strategies in there. In other words, it really is written that you can read the book and take it out and run with it. So anyway, hey, grab the book, Elite Sales Strategies. We'll put it in the show notes for you. Lightning round. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Lightning round. 10 ways to be seen as the expert by your customers.
Well, I'm gonna take a page out of something that Patrick is saying here right now. Customers love the edge. I would say be edgy. Take a position on thoughts or ideas in the business, and give it your own spin.
Take couple of your leading customers to lunch. Get them to share with you what's happening in industry. What are the challenges they're facing? Use that to develop content, strategy, questions that you can share with all your customers.
Keep a list of problems. Every time a customer asks you a question, every time they present a problem, keep that list by your desk. Use it to create content.
Be recognized globally. Make sure that you have a social media footprint. It's not a total immersion, but you better make sure that you have a social media footprint, and that is undoubtedly LinkedIn.
Yeah, probably. That's probably where your customer base is. I would say understand, get really, really, really clear on your target market. And once you're clear on that target market, you need to know where they're looking for information. You need to understand where they go on social media, what magazines they read, and you need to position yourself to be in their line of sight.
A 2-watt light bulb looks pretty good in a dark room. Where am I going
Mhm.
with this? What I'm going
That's
with this is it's amazing how many of your competitors really aren't that smart. If you will devote yourself to 30 minutes a day of reading and studying about your industry, within about 2 or 3 months, you'll be an expert out there.
I would say you need to back up and you need to really ask yourself, do you understand your own products and services? When's the last time you updated yourself on your own product knowledge, really understood what happens in the customer service department, how operations handles problems and logistics? Understand your products and services all the way through from the customer experience.
Never have a sales call where you don't share with them some insight, some piece of information to help them do their business, run their business more effectively.
I would say that you need to work on driving referrals. You know, the more that people are talking about you in the industry, the more that you are getting people to send you other customers, the higher you will be positioned in the mind of customers.
I'll share one more, you share one more, and we'll close the show down. And this has been absolutely terrific. Hey, if some of you have put comments in and they
Yeah.
haven't appeared on the screen, apologies. We continue to get more and more every week. We can't get everybody up on the screen, but we're seeing them, and it's excellent content. Here's the piece. Who are the other people that you can take in on your calls with you? Have some marketing people join you. Have some senior salespeople join you. Have some operations people join you. Hang out with experts. Get experts with you on your sales calls.
Mm. Well, the comment up here on the screen, I would try to pronounce your name, but I'm so afraid I'm just gonna screw it up. But I'm so excited to have China with us this morning. Mark, this is the first time we have had a guest on here from China, and he's making some great comments this morning. I want to end with this idea that Mark had brought up. And the first sale you have got to make is to yourself. You have to believe that you're an expert, and you have to know that being an expert is where the sales process starts. So if you haven't done the internal work, back up and do the internal work. You have to believe you're an expert in the field, do what that takes, and the rest is going to come easily.
Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend, because it's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
And remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
all of this uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
Hey, Sales Logic, we love it, wherever it comes from in the world.
That's right. So mahalo. I will be back in the U.S. when we do this next week, 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday morning. Please, if you have questions, reach out to us on saleslogicpodcast.com. You have been an amazing audience this morning, as you are every week. Thank you so much for your comments. You make this show so much better because you weigh in with ideas and strategies and things that Mark and I haven't put on the table. So we will see you right back here next week, 9 a.m. Eastern. Until then, we hope you close a lot of deals this week.